the answers, there's no good answers. I could find you, I could find
From the Sporting News Studios, this is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Matt Litevsky.
I got all the answers, all the answers. I could find you, I could find all the answers. If you let me get it close and study you.
Eric Ferreira, fantasy football expert, is back.
I'm an expert again?
You're an expert.
I thought I was an enthusiast.
Yeah, you were, but then you made fun of fantasy experts because I was like, I don't know about Josh Adams this week, and you're like, I don't know why. And after he scored, you were like, I don't know why I listen to the so-called experts. So now you're an expert.
I just like giving you.
I'm deeming you an expert.
Giving you some gruff via text.
Yeah, via Slack channel.
Yeah.
Even though I could have cared less who you started, and I was like, dude, I have no skin in the game. Started you out like, I got a gut feeling. All right, cool. Start.
I don't know why I don't just stick with my gut feelings.
You should always stick with your gut. What you should have done is drafted some Chiefs and Rams and started them.
I'm so mad. Like, first of all, full cards on the table. Didn't watch a ton of the game last night. The Celtics were in town in Charlotte, so went to that. And I'm still on a little bit of European time, so...
Yeah, you were in Europe. That's why you missed the last
That's
one.
right. I was on suspension.
PD suspension.
Yeah. So I'm on... My time is a little off. I got home. I was a little tired. I put the game on for like a second, saw a couple TDs.
Yeah, that's it. All you had to do was watch for a second.
And it actually made me mad.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, I don't have any Rams or Chiefs, so I just pictured...
I was like, must be nice.
I just pictured all these other fantasy players at home, loving last night, all their points being scored, and I'm like, this means nothing to me. I can't win or lose tonight because of any of this.
One time, I think I went into a Monday night down like 4, and I was like, I'm not going to win. Right. Those people went in last night down 40 if they had 2 guys.
Yeah.
Except
not if one was Gurley.
Not if one was Gurley.
But no, I was like mad. I was like, I don't want to watch this.
No.
I don't care about everyone else's football porn.
That's what
out.
It was.
I'm going to bed because I'm tired.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But that was, a Big 12 game, Pac-12 after dark. You called it a Madden game, whatever you want to call it. That's what it was last night.
Silly season. Silly season.
That's silly season's
game of the year right there.
Full effect. That's when we remember the 2017.
So I love that it was Gurley's worst game of the year.
Right.
It was his first game without a TD, and they scored 54 points.
Not even 100 total yards.
I love that the Rams D gave up 51 points and still scored 23.
Fantasy. Yeah.
This is hashtag silly season.
It was stupid. I'm happy for everyone.
Another big moment from last night's game. Pat Mahomes, the second, he reached the Alex Novick over of Alex actually went under 34.5 passing TDs.
That's right.
Mahomes was up to 37 before his bye.
Yeah. So back in week 3, after Mahomes had 10 touchdowns in weeks 1 and 2, he just threw out the random over-under number, 44.5.
Alex didn't like it.
He thought it was insane. He said, you're not even going to get 34.5. Well, he did.
Book that by his bye week.
Yeah, that was the easiest money. We should have made him put some money on it. And now that 44.5 is in danger.
Yeah, we're not even counting his rushing TDs anymore.
No.
I don't think we need them.
We don't need them.
We don't need them.
So anyway, yeah. So we're going to talk about, that's all. They're on bye. We don't need to talk about the Rams.
I'm done with the Rams.
We're done with all them, but we are going to run down the highest trending players like we do every week. Going to get into the good starts, bad starts, which we definitely don't call sleepers and busts.
Definitely not. Definitely don't call it busts.
We don't call it starts and sits. And as I like to say, this is for entertainment purposes only.
Right.
Just like when you ask me something, I'm just giving you an answer for entertainment.
Wait a minute, your answers are just for entertainment? They're not actually advice?
Do with it what you will. It's
well, I'm not going to use it anymore.
Entertainment. I hope you don't ask.
Though I do have one for you that I'm going to run by you today.
Great.
And it fits into the searchable players. So
all right. Well, that's great.
I'll just tease that.
But as we do every week, we start by looking back at last week. Obviously, you weren't here. Jacob was here. Did a great job for 2 weeks, but now he's off for Thanksgiving.
I was a little nervous that I was going to get Wally pipped.
Yeah. At what point do people not know that reference? Ever? Or is that just something that lives on forever?
I don't think all people know it.
Well,
I don't think all sports fans know it.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And we're not going to tell people.
No.
Look it up.
Don't Google it.
No.
Maybe you should use...
We'll get there in a second.
Okay.
What search engine is sponsoring the next segment. But so we look back at last week. We kind of try to say, well, what did we get wrong? Last week, we were pretty good. Again, we don't say bus. so we take ourselves off the hook a little bit.
Right.
We talked a lot about the Ravens and the whole who's going to start at QB and what does that mean and what does that mean for the players. Because a lot of their players are trending. We'll get to them in the next segment. But one thing, too, we talked a lot about the Eagles, and we were all, this is going to be a shootout. Eagles-Saints, it's basically going to be Rams-Chiefs light. Chiefs-Rams light.
For one team.
It was
one team was shooting it out.
What's up with the Eagles, man?
It's like I'm remembering all those early season Carson Wentz bust picks.
Yeah.
And now
wish he had made them
they're
now.
a mess. Now they're a little messy.
Because I think we both sort of were leery of him when I remember he was playing the UK game against the Jags, and he threw for 3 touchdowns. Like, you can never say Carson Wentz is a bust.
But maybe he had a little jet lag coming back.
Must have really carried over like a month. He, he got married this summer. Maybe that has something to do with this. Torn ACL, possibly. Okay. I'm not sure about
just
that.
Straight up Super Bowl hangover.
I think we've
seen this before.
He didn't even play in the Super Bowl.
What's that? Oh, well, I mean the Eagles.
Yeah, the celebration hangover.
Yeah.
So anyway, they just, except the only guy who came through on them was the guy who we doubted the most, Josh Adams.
Yeah.
So by the way, this is the second time you've sort of had a question about a running back facing the Saints.
Yeah.
And I've been like, the Saints, they're like 3rd fewest fantasy points a game to back.
That it hasn't worked out.
Both times
this season's just a throwaway season.
Latavius Murray, Josh Adams.
This season's just a throwaway season.
Yeah.
Luckily, it didn't matter for me, but I was still annoyed. Because I didn't want to play John Brown. Because I thought that Lamar Jackson was going to run the ball.
Right.
Run the ball. And run the ball a little bit.
Expect 27 carries?
No, but I thought... Definitely 15-20.
Well, I think we all did.
And then maybe not good quarterbacking, right? So running and then not good quarterbacking.
I think we all did. But I was like, man, the Bengals are so bad. All he's got to do is complete 3.
But I was like, he does have a big arm. So maybe he'll be better to John Brown than he will be to Crabtree. So I'm going to leave him in.
But it turned out only guy Lamar Jackson threw to was Willie Snead.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, they should have left that.
But the Eagles, I think Golden Tate right now, Golden Tate owners are very confused, scared, sad. They don't know what to do.
Sitting down in the shower, confused.
That's right. They're just, crying. Sneaking cigarettes in a basement. So I don't know what to make of Golden Tate. Obviously, it's like Ertz will bounce back. Jeffrey, I think, is fine. He'll bounce back. But the big one is, I think Wentz is a big one because there's so many other good quarterbacks you could play in a given week. And I think Tate right now is is on the bubble at the very least.
He was more involved this week than last week. Yeah,
sure, but didn't really produce again. And this week.
They'll probably figure it out. They're going to get a little boost from the Alex Smith injury, and they're like, ooh, this division's available again.
Maybe.
Let's go get it.
Now the Cowboys beat the Skins and juggernaut. But anyway, so those are a couple things we were wrong about. That shootout with the Eagles didn't happen. And then the Ravens, which leads us into this next segment. We hit up a popular, we hit up a search engine who's popular on said search engine. Google's too popular for our taste.
Yeah, we're more hipster than that.
This week, we're going to excite.
That's exciting.
We're going to excite them.
I'm excited.
We're going to excite. That should be a thing, right?
What?
Excite them. Excited.
Yeah.
You can't say excite it, I guess.
Get excited.
Yeah, get excited.
Like after you search, it's like searching something is like getting excited.
You can see that commercial where it's like a dude snowboarding and stuff, and then it's like, get excited. That seems like a thing.
Yeah, or like looking something up and being excited when you find out the answer.
Right.
There's definitely some marketing.
Remember that game Excite Bike?
I do.
I love that game.
I do. It was pretty sick graphics.
Well, I just remember you could design your own course. And I just did all the speed things, the little arrows,
speed bursts.
And then the big jump.
Yeah.
That was it.
There weren't that many choices, if I remember.
There were, but the funny thing was you did the big jump and then you put a bunch of stuff in between.
Yeah. You had to time it so that you were coming down.
But it looked like you were jumping that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's, why'd you even need anything? But anyway, gosh, we should just talk about Excite Bike the rest of this. We're going to get excited. We're going to hit that popular search engine. And some of the guys, the players, are trending highest on Excite, because that's the thing. Number one, it's 2 Ravens. We'll just group them together. Lamar Jackson and Gus the Bus Edwards.
Gus Edwards sounds like a fullback.
Well, he sized like a fullback.
6'1", 238.
Yet he was basically the feature back last week. seemingly coming out of nowhere. He had one other game this year where he had some carries.
He had 15 carries this entire year. And he had 17
Well, didn't he have like 10 in one game and then like 1-1-2 or something like that?
I don't have the game log, but I got 15 carries before Sunday, 17 for 115 on Sunday.
And a touchdown. Alex Collins scored early and then basically he wasn't hurt. He was just phased out. They went
Alex
hot
Collins.
hands. And, it's also interesting that Buck Allen apparently now is not a dude.
But it's weird. It's like, why did they trade for Ty Montgomery if they thought this guy had talent and they had Buck Allen and they had Alex Collins? Like, why did they feel the need?
Why did the Jaguars trade for Carlos Hyde if they're just going to give Leonard Fournette 25 plus carries as soon as he comes back? When they're going nowhere. But so it was bizarre. I don't think anyone could see it coming. The matchup was great. We knew that. That's why we were all excited about Ravens guys last week. So it's not a surprise to see a Ravens running back have a huge game, but I don't know. Like,
I don't know who's going to get more carries next week, but I can tell you what I do know.
Right.
Their schedule the rest of the season is easy.
Oakland, Atlanta, KC, Tampa.
San Diego.
San Diego's not a team.
Yeah. I'm just saying, that's their next 5. That takes you through the fantasy Super Bowl.
Yeah. And so week 17, even Cleveland. But the next 4 for sure are cake for backs.
Right. But it's frustrating though, because who's going to be the guy? I don't think we can either one of us say who's going to be the guy? You got to pick him up, but do you have any confidence starting
him? He's
him?
going to be number 1 waiver claim, probably deservedly so. It just feels like it's felt almost all year like John Harbaugh wants to get Alex Collins out of just limited touches.
Yeah.
And we had like a little Buck Allen earlier in the year. He was out snapping them. We thought, ooh, it's coming. Never did. They trade for Ty Montgomery. Like you said, is that something? And now it just feels, but I just can't imagine an undrafted free agent out of Rutgers who's 6'1", 238 being a feature back for an extended period of time. But with these matchups, maybe.
Right. Well, the other thing is Flacco might be back this week.
Might be.
Like, Lamar Jackson might not even play.
Well, right.
Which changes everything. They had 54 carries on Sunday.
Well, but 27 were Jackson.
Right. So those are going to be a fair amount of throws.
Or they're going to be more handoffs to backs.
I guess. If Flacco's back, they're going to throw more than 19 times.
More, but, there's a lot of people, and I don't know if this is one of those weird writers projecting what they think should happen onto the team, but they're like, Flacco might not start even if he's healthy.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not bizarre. Sensing that from Harbaugh at all, but writers are definitely like, he might have started his last game for the Ravens. It's like, I mean, this dude ran 27 times for 100 yards.
Where's the bus boy? Take some food off Joe Flacco's plate.
I mean, listen, if they went with Lamar Jackson, if he carries the ball 20 to 27 times a game, Joe Flacco's going to get another start this year. Let me put it that way.
It's a good point. So I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. You got to pick him up. I think he's going to be started this week against the Raiders.
And maybe against the Raiders, there's still enough to go around.
We're not going to know. We're not going to know going into this game.
No.
You have to start him in that plum matchup. And who knows? He might get 6. Alex Collins might get 13.
Right.
And we're just doing this dance again next week.
It's weird because it is a great schedule and it's a team that wants to run, but it's kind of a situation to avoid.
Yeah, well, maybe or maybe not.
If you can afford it, I guess grab Gus and start other guys. Because there's still, it's not like it's a 1 week good matchup thing.
No.
Like we've got 4. So definitely still grab them.
But now go to Jackson. So it's funny, I was looking up some ownership totals for a piece I was writing last night. I go in our league, that's where I look up the Yahoo ownership totals. And then I see, Lamar Jackson's owned in our league.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of asshole
some shrewd owner picked him up before the game Sunday.
Jackass owner picked him up. What are you going to do with Lamar Jackson?
I might start him this week. That's my question.
Who's your quarterback?
Roethlisberger.
Okay.
At Denver. Yeah. Not a great D, but Roethlisberger on the road, watching Roethlisberger against Jacksonville.
God, I'd laugh my ass off if you started Lamar Jackson over Ben Roethlisberger.
It was brutal watching Roethlisberger. And he got there with his
numbers.
With his 3 TDs, but he threw 3 picks. I feel like he threw several more that were called back.
It did feel that way.
I don't know who he was throwing the ball to.
He did his best to not get that last TD by spiking the ball with a timeout.
It was just bad.
That was so stupid.
So, I thought about for a half a second starting Lamar Jackson this past Sunday, and I was like, no, that's stupid. Just start Roethlisberger.
Yeah, that would have been stupid.
But I picked him up.
Yeah, and you're never going to play him.
In case he ran for 100 yards and everyone went crazy over him.
And then what?
I might use him this week.
He can't throw.
13 for 19.
Oh, God.
13 for 19.
Did any ball go downfield more than
Here's
8
the thing,
yards?
though. But you know what I say to that, though?
No.
He didn't have a touchdown,
Right.
like rushing. And I do feel like if he starts games, he's going to have.
Yeah.
So take his line from this past week, 100 yards and 150 passing, right? That's 16 points.
Right.
Throw a touchdown, that's 22.
Right.
The ceiling
run for a touchdown.
I mean, the ceiling, right, just a touchdown. Right. The ceiling is there.
High-end QB1.
And the floor with the rushing is like fairly high in a good matchup.
Right. Well, so Atlanta, he's got the same matchups as Gus, Oakland, Atlanta,
here's my
KC,
question.
Tampa.
Here's my question. Yeah. Would you consider starting Lamar Jackson over Roethlisberger this week?
No, I wouldn't.
No. Well, then I'm starting Lamar Jackson.
Wow.
Because I don't listen to you anymore.
Got me. I didn't see that coming.
You just got lawyered.
All right, so here. That's sunny. So here's the bigger question.
Okay.
Start Lamar Jackson, that's fine. He does have a high floor, like you said. But it's not going to be a high floor when he gets knocked out of a game in the first quarter because he's running an option.
It's true.
And
he's tough, though. He can handle it.
Is he?
Who on the Raiders could actually knock him out?
Well, okay, not the Raiders. But here's the big question.
Okay.
All these good matchups we keep talking about.
Yeah, good matchups.
They're good for every position.
This sounds like, you know what good matchups for 4 weeks sounds like?
Right.
Some guy who like doesn't have a good team this year,
right.
but he's got some sick keepers.
Yeah.
And he's just constantly like, yeah, but those matchups coming up, though.
Right. If I get in the playoffs, you don't want to see me.
Don't want to see
Don't let
matchups.
me get in the playoffs. Don't let me. I got Gus Edwards. But here's the question. Ravens wide receivers and tight ends. The only guy he threw to last week was Willie Snead.
Yeah, and I don't make anything of that. I think if Lamar Jackson is starting, you have to downgrade, potentially bench all their receivers. Like I'm done with John Brown if Lamar Jackson is starting.
But see, one of them's going to do something, but you just aren't going to know who. You're not.
Yeah,
gonna know
I mean,
when.
I guess it depends on your team makeup, but yeah, I have options that are good enough with John Brown this week, so I'm benching him.
Okay, you don't need to talk about yourself personally. We're here to help everyone.
I'm using my
maybe someone
life as a real world example for people.
Your life,
my team.
They don't know what I've been through.
As a real world example, we don't just want to talk about things in a vacuum here. We want to give examples.
Right. All right. Well, okay. So most
as a John Brown owner,
right?
I'm benching him
in a great matchup, but you still feel like you got to bench him.
With Lamar, if Lamar Jackson's throwing, I'm benching my Ravens.
All right. If Lamar Jackson's throwing, I'm benching. That's the logic. So, okay, well, let's just skip ahead real quick. Wide receivers with bad matchups this week. The Eagles are one on paper. The Giants. It's a bad matchup on paper.
Yeah, I still feel like that could be a get-right game.
Right. So it's like you're definitely starting Golden Tate ahead of John Brown.
Yeah, I am.
Not even thinking twice.
Another real-world example. God, I am.
Damn it. I walked right into it. Okay, you have Corey Davis, too, don't you?
Yeah, but I'm actually, well, not that team. I don't need to do it.
All right, but Corey Davis, John Brown, who you starting?
I think I'm starting Davis as much as I hate Corey Davis. Yeah.
All right, yeah, well. All right, no, it's interesting.
Unless it's Blaine Gabbert, and then you're throwing Corey Davis out the window.
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert. Marcus, I wrote MSV, that was screwing me up. MVS, Valdez Scantling.
Yeah.
You starting him or John Brown against the Raiders? Valdez Scantling against the Vikings.
I think I'm starting Valdez Scantling.
Yeah.
I think so.
Aaron Rodgers versus Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, it's close.
So it's tough with those guys, but you can't drop them yet. They're just stuck on your bench. You can drop, like, if you picked up Mark Andrews because of the run of good matchups, you can drop him.
Yeah, I would need to see another week of him throwing to Snead to be like, oh, Snead's his guy.
And even Snead is just PPR, which has been his case. He scored in week 1, hasn't scored since. I don't think he's ever topped 60 yards in a game, even though he gets 8 targets a game. It's kind of crazy. All right, so those are the Ravens. Now let's move on to another guy trending high on Excite Analytics. Kerryon Johnson really looked like a break. Like, obviously, Saquon Barkley's the guy, the rookie. But Kerryon Johnson, man, has looked really good.
Good. Was part of the passing game. As a Lions fan, I'm sure you're excited to have a nice little 100-yard back.
Mr. 100 did it in a tough matchup against the Bears a couple weeks ago. Scored twice. Looked good, like you mentioned, in the receiving game. Just like you just watch him. Eye test, impressive. But knee injury.
Right.
Probably out this week for sure.
Yeah, Thanksgiving game.
Probably out maybe next. Like, if you're the Lions, where are you going? Right. Why are you going to rush him back? Who knows how long he'll be out, but figure, at least one game. So, Lions sit here. We got obvious replacements. We got LeGarrette Blount, power back. We got Theo Riddick, receiving back. You got to pick them up. Got to.
I guess. To me, Riddick is more interesting.
Well, PPR.
Especially
Riddick.
like with the Bears this week. They just swallowed up
Dalvin Cook.
Why am I blanking? Dalvin Cook this week. Obviously, the Bears have a good D. Yeah, I mean, I'm not excited about starting Blount against the Bears.
No, you're not. I don't think you're going to play him this week, but let's get that. Let's go next three. After the Bears.
Yeah.
Rams, Cardinals, like the worst, or one of the worst, and then the Bills, week 15, which is a pretty favorable matchup, too, for backs. I mean, that's nice.
You want Kerryon back for that.
Well, you want.
Although that Rams game, though, I'm not feeling Blount for that one.
Game script?
That's a Riddick game script. That's a Riddick game script.
I guess. They're going to try to pound
the Bears
him early.
Is probably a Riddick game script.
Yeah, probably. See, I think the game Thursday is going to be close, and that they'll at least run Blount into a brick wall. At the very least,
good news for fantasy owners.
He's going to get 10 plus carries, and be a TD or bust flex in standard leagues.
Yeah,
at the very least. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want to play him either this week.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to be fair. I wouldn't want to play Riddick either. I just think Riddick's the better option of the two.
Riddick is the classic 7-catch, 39.
But throw in the fact that they're without Tate now.
Right.
They're probably without Marvin Jones. It's a little extra for Riddick. As well.
But Bruce Ellington is just the new Tate. Remember with Brandon Powell when I mocked that and people tried to tell me Brandon Powell was someone?
You mean Golden Tate tried to tell you Brandon Powell?
Well, yeah, but Golden Tate among them. People tried to tell me Brandon Powell. Now, I didn't know Bruce Ellington was going to turn into Target Hog.
Right.
But no, Kenny Golladay, good Lord. Earning that Babytron nickname.
He's the only bright spot,
He just looks good.
Yeah.
Like, not even just, they're throwing to him a ton. No, he was, I don't know how, you probably didn't see much of that game on Sunday.
I saw enough that the stupid Panthers went for 2 to ruin my pick.
I like the go for 2, but that was and even the play.
Do you like the go for 2 when you're the better team though? Even though you're on the road, you're the better team.
I pretty much always like going for 2 there, but
see, I go for 2 if I'm the team that isn't expected to win.
I didn't like the play because to me, if you're in that situation, you got to get Cam Newton somehow on the run.
Yeah, that run pass option all day.
That play was wide open.
That was a straight drop back play.
But it was wide open. Right. So I can't even really knock the play. He just screwed it up.
To bring that, if that's in Madden,
right,
and you have a mobile quarterback like Cam, you're rolling him out.
Or you're just doing straight up Cam draw or zone
option.
read.
What about a straight up option?
Right. Yeah. You're doing something like to me.
Give him more than one choice.
Right. But it was wide open, and he just botched it. But anyway, I think both those guys have to be picked up. Riddick, I don't think you have to pick up Riddick in standard, just PPR. But I think Blount, again, with those matchups, if Johnson's going to be out a while, I kind of like him. It's tough when you use like a waiver claim, or at least a high-ish waiver claim on a guy, and you can't play him right away.
Yeah, but
we got to invest.
But we're in week 12, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, I care about my waiver claim number a little bit, but at this point, But it's
a good investment.
You need W's, right? Yeah. Like if you want to burn your waiver claim on a defense because that's what you need this week, like do
it depends on your record, right? If what would people's records be? 5-5 or
other people's records could be 6-5,
5-6, 5, whatever it is.
Not our records.
No. Hey, we both won this week. Woo. Is that the first time this year we both won? Probably. Did you win week 1?
No, I think I was actually 2-1 this year. I think I lost week 1 and then won 2 in a row.
I was 1-0 against the team that right now is well in first place. So who I'm playing again this weekend is going to stomp me. But so it's like if you're like, I have to win, then you don't pick up a Garrett Blount because he can't help you this week. Yeah. But if you're like, hey, I'm a little comfortable, I know I'm in.
Just got to make some roster.
I'm thinking ahead.
Kind of just tighten up my roster.
Then you pick him up. For sure. All right, another running back injury situation. Your boy,
This one's disappointing.
Doug Farton.
Yeah, this one's disappointing. Runs for 10 carries for 52 yards in the first half.
Big fart dog.
In a good matchup. They're in the game.
Fart machine.
And then he's nowhere to be found after halftime.
Right.
He's injured. He's not injured. He got shot up. Then I read this morning Gruden just wanted to get Washington some more carries. Wants to see what he's got.
There's a lot of Dwayne Washington.
What, a 2-win team, a 3-win team just lying about injuries? Like, we cared, like, John.
Right.
Comparing Jalen Richard to Charlie Garner.
Right.
I don't know, Gruden. Like, I like Gruden in general, but
do you know him? Does he call you a Tom?
He's just weird, man.
What was I referencing there?
I don't know.
Ace Ventura.
I missed that one.
Wait, you missed the movie?
I've seen it.
Okay.
I've seen it.
Well, I was in the 90s, and I know you were just busy in the 90s. You were partying.
I've seen that one.
You said that to me.
No, the Martin thing's disappointing.
Yeah. Well, especially in that matchup.
Yeah, well, and on the field, he had 52 yards at halftime.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
He's looked decent every week.
He really has. I hate to say it.
But they either have game script issues, he's got a sprained ankle, Washington needs time.
Got to get to DeAndre. We haven't seen enough of him
in 3 years.
3 years.
But here's the thing, the next few weeks, right?
Oh, boy, this is,
their matchups.
2 out of 4.
But no, what I see in these matchups.
Oh, break it down
when
for
I look
me,
at them,
Merrill Hodge.
Is I see, well, first Baltimore, good run defense. Probably need to throw a little. Well, it's Oakland, so they're going to need to throw in all these games. I see Rashard matchups.
Right.
Baltimore, good run D. Kansas City is going to put 50 up on them.
Right.
Pittsburgh.
But Kansas City, terrible run D. They'll at least run them a lot early.
Right. Then they'll get smoked and they'll need to throw.
Right.
Pittsburgh, probably going to put up 30 on them.
Yeah.
Cincinnati,
love it.
Bad D.
Love it.
Yeah. So these are good matchups, but I think they're good matchups for Rashard.
But mainly, well, week 15 could be fine for Martin. But week 13, that's the Cincinnati. Week 13 against Kansas City, you're right. They're going to try to run early, but he's got to score early because if he doesn't, that's a Rashard game script all day.
But he's also possibly hurt. We don't know what his deal is with his ankle.
And then Denver's a pretty good matchup too, quietly in week 16. So there's reason to invest in both Rashard and Washington. I like Rashard more. He was the guy who caught passes, but they seem to like running with Washington more.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like people own Rashard already, though. I don't know what his ownership numbers are, but
let me double check. But he got picked up right after the Lynch was announced to go on IR, and then it was like I think he hasn't done much, so he got dropped.
Always seems to do enough to ruin my Doug Martin.
44% ownership, so still available in over half of leagues. Yeah. So I think you pick both up, and it might be something where Martin plays this week. We don't know, but I think they're worthy waiver guys, starting with Rashard and then Washington.
Yeah, I mean, Washington, what's Washington going to give you, really?
Well, those matchups, maybe something.
I think it's Rashard matchups.
No, I like him more, but I still think Washington has value. Would you rather have Blunt or Washington?
Blunt.
Eye roll. Heavy eye roll.
Blunt, I guess.
Riddick or Washington?
Riddick.
Yeah, see, what's Riddick going to give you? Riddick is a guy we like the idea
45 yards.
Washington can do that.
You know what Riddick will give you? Riddick will give you 2 TDs when he's on your bench.
Oh, yeah.
But when you need him,
for sure,
he's going to get you 27 yards.
All right. So those are some of the injured running backs. One more injured guy, probably coming back this week, Rob Gronkowski. Reason I even want to talk about him is just it's amazing how much of sort of almost an afterthought he is in fantasy now. Like he's still a starter. If you own him, you're still probably like,
it makes you feel safe when you set your lineup.
But maybe it doesn't anymore. Like, yeah, you're starting him, and you're like, all right, I got Gronk, put him in. He has done very little this year, certainly has done very little lately.
Doesn't that mean he's due?
Well, I think he's due in the playoffs.
By your logic, is he due?
No, that is true, but I think he's due in the playoffs. I don't know if he's due in the regular season. Scored once this year, was in week 1. Since then, he had 97 yards in week 6. That's nice on 3 catches. For the most part, I mean, here's his totals after week 1. 15, 51, 44, 75, 97, 43. And then he's missed the last X number of games. I don't know. Is he a must start?
I guess it depends on... Yes. Because you're going to be kicking yourself.
Right.
When he blows up and you're like, what kind of idiot benches Gronk?
Right. But is he going to blow up? This week it's a tough matchup at the Jets on paper. That's a tough matchup.
Yeah, I mean, they give up 5.54 points to tight ends.
Right.
It's pretty low.
But then, we always used to throw it out the window, right? It's like, yeah, whatever it says on paper. I don't care because he's Gronk. It's the Pats. Doesn't matter. But now I kind of think it matters.
But who do you start over him? Like what kind of, because you got to think, if you own Gronk, you don't own Kelsey.
Vance McDonald. Good matchup.
I feel like I got to keep starting Gronk.
Right.
It's really tough to say a name over Gronk. Unless reports come out where he's going to be limited or that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when are we going to get those reports for the
Belichick
Patriots?
is incredibly forthcoming with that stuff.
I think we're going to play him 20 snaps, mainly in the third quarter. How about even another disappointing type guy, Evan Ingram, who's disappointed this year?
Yeah, and I believe we called that a bit in the preseason.
Well, that was another Alex. Remember when he was like, I'd take him in the third round? I was like, what are you talking about?
No, they've got options this year.
I liked him, but as much. I didn't think
I like him as a football player.
Yeah, well, I'm just meant as a man, but
I'm starting Gronk over Ingram.
Yeah, I think you have to. Again, Ingram's better quarterback. That just comes down to better quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about, like I said, Vance McDonald's a close one.
You going to start someone like Njoku over him?
Njoku. Yeah, this week I am. I play Njoku over him this week. He's got the Bengals.
That's tough sitting Gronk. It's tough sitting Gronk.
But I don't know. This is the point of the season, right? You have to make these tough calls.
Decisions are huge right now.
Yeah.
For other teams.
And then, well, sure, I don't care. Well, I actually kind of do because I'm trying to stay out of the basement. What do you think? Did you happen to see in the Fantasy Football channel my suggestion for what our last place person should have to do?
I do, but I don't remember. Like, I read that whole thread.
It was buy a cake that has like a saying as voted on by the rest of the league on it.
See, I'm all for that because who doesn't like eating cake?
Well, that's just it. We all get cake. Even the person who bought it gets the cake.
It's not embarrassing for the person to buy the cake.
And it's not permanent. Well, it is kind of weird if you go up to the counter at Harris Teeter and you're like, I like a cake with, whatever it says on it. So it's my fantasy, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's a fun one. It costs them like 20-some bucks.
Right. So that's the problem because you're already in the league for 50, right?
But hey,
for 50, fun. I mean, if we were playing for money.
Right. No, we are.
And then another 20 if you come in last.
Right.
You got some cheap people in this league.
Yeah, I know. But
I think I'm staring at one of them.
Well, I'm cheap about other things in life, but I would do that. But I don't really even like cake. I'd rather have Dr. Pepper. But I don't. I think that's a fun way to do it.
Okay.
It's still embarrassing enough.
And you made it clear.
Problem
we're going to start next year, though.
Oh,
because you're very nervous about where you're going to finish.
But here's the thing. The thing about that is, the embarrassment of whatever the little last place punishments, no one else would get to enjoy that. They wouldn't get to see it. They'd only get to hear about it afterwards. It's almost like you'd have to film it, and then it gets weird. Like, why are you filming something in a grocery store?
Yeah.
So that's sort of the dilemma there. But anyway, yeah. So just Patriots schedule down the stretch here. Jets. Vikings, not a great matchup. Dolphins, not a good matchup. Pittsburgh, good matchup. Week 15 for tight ends. Week 16, Buffalo, not a very good matchup. So he really doesn't have a good schedule either. And they're going to rest him. Or at least take it easy with them.
That's what they just did, right?
Well, they're going to do it again. They're at least going to take it easy with them.
Well, here's the funny thing. The division's not going to be a problem. But half the AFC is 7-3 right now.
Right.
So, I mean, that second bye after Kansas City, there's going to be a fight for it.
Or after Pittsburgh.
Yeah, stupid tie. And does Pittsburgh feel like a 7-2-1 team right now?
No.
They're trash, man. They're not that good.
They're not trash.
Well, they're not trash.
They're pretty good.
They're not.
Their defense has gotten a lot better.
If they were in the NFC, they'd be 5-5.
All I know is they made bad decisions. All I know is the whole thing, like the veteran quarterback doesn't screw up. When he spiked that ball with the timeout and they were on the 4-yard, where it's like every play is going to be a throw to the end zone, bro. Like,
yeah.
The only thing is,
I hate when teams save a timeout when they're like inside the 5. You can't waste a down. You're inside the 5. You waste a timeout. Or you don't waste the timeout. You're scared to waste that when, every play is going to be incomplete or a touchdown, and you waste the throw to the end zone.
And, you're kicking the field goal on 4th down because you're down 3.
Right.
So you've just taken away a play to win the game.
33% of your plays.
And so then you go, and then it's like, okay, well then run on 2nd down since you saved your timeout, big guy, and James Conner's here.
Yeah.
And it was fun watching that game because James Conner had a really bad drop on that touchdown.
Yeah.
And just the whole time, Le'Veon would have caught that.
Yeah.
Just do that. All right, let's move on. Look at the good and bad matchups. This is entertainment purposes only. It is not sleepers bust. It is not start sits.
Of course not.
We're just talking out loud. That's all we're doing. And you're listening. Hopefully. What's happening.
Are you guys out there?
No. 2 buys this week. Chiefs, Rams. Boo-hoo.
Whatever.
Feel so bad for their owners.
Their owners are all 11-0
Had to wait till week 12 for a bye. All right, we start with quarterbacks. Good matchups. Let's throw them out there. Baker Mayfield at Cincinnati. Lamar Jackson versus Oakland, your boy. And I had Fitzmagic crossed out. Jameis Winston versus San Francisco.
Yeah, that team is just hilarious with their back and forth.
That's just calm. I can't believe Dirk Cutter still has a job. And then the bad starts. Deshaun Watson versus Tennessee. Carson Wentz versus the Giants. These are statistically based on fantasy points allowed to the position. Matt Stafford, who feels like he's on here every week against the Bears. And Phil Rivers against the Cardinals.
Can't wait to talk about Phil Rivers being stupid on Sunday as well.
Another one. Veteran quarterback. Another one.
I swear these guys had money on the games.
At first, I thought that was like it slipped.
No, man.
Because he reacted immediately.
I'm telling you, he threw it away.
And he did. Oh, yeah, he definitely did the more I saw the replay. But he reacted immediately like, oh, no. But also, is that, I don't know, maybe he checked out of the play, but shouldn't the coaches be like, just give it to Melvin Gordon, bro? Just give it to Melvin Gordon.
Give it to Gordon. Or take they're always like, never take a sack. Never. There's a situation, take a sack.
It's not there right away, just turtle, fall to the ground. Huh. Unreal. But so all those bad starts are bad statistically. They're all at home.
Yeah.
The Watson one's on a Monday night. The Stafford one's obviously Thanksgiving. So we got sort of some big games.
It's fine. If you want to talk about the bad ones first, I'm not interested in Stafford against Chicago.
No, I don't think
their D's good. He's stripped weapon wise.
Yeah.
You have to be able to do better than Stafford.
Right.
I feel like Wentz, Giants pass defense is good, but they're not a good team in general.
Right.
So I feel like he could be fine there.
Right.
Rivers against Arizona at home. Their pass defense is pretty good. That could be a big running game for Gordon, but Rivers still seems to always gets his. And Watson's at home too. They've been weird. And,
Watson was a guy too. I think the last time we called him as like a potential bad start, he threw for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, they're weird. They're like unpredictable when they're going to blow up and when they're not.
Right, and like Cuty's back and looked really good. I mean, Thomas 1 target last week, no catches. I have no idea what to make of him, but he's obviously got Hopkins. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that team and him in general.
I mean, Tennessee's pass defense is okay, although they just got shredded by the Colts.
Right. They give up a lot of fantasy points to receivers, but not quarterbacks, which is weird.
A lot of halfback passes.
Exactly. I don't know what to make of that.
Lots of reverses.
Yeah, so it's like that tells me they're really not that good, and I would start Watson. Again, I'd start Rivers. Look, he had a tough matchup on paper this week, threw for over 400.
Yeah.
Something really weird in that game. They were just forcing the ball to Antonio Gates. They threw to him like 4 times in the end zone, and he caught one. He had a great game. There was something weird going on, though. Maybe it's as simple as they saw something on tape they thought they could exploit with him, but it almost seemed personal. Like he was like,
"Listen, with Phil Rivers,
it
might be personal."
Or with Gates, was like, "I want to get these guys." Remember when they had Julius Thomas and they thought he was the next me? I'll show them. But yeah, I think you got to start Rivers. He's just too consistent. It would be real tough for me to bench Wentz. But,
yeah, for sure.
So let's look at the other 3 then. Mayfield. Fantastic matchup. He's had at least 2 touchdowns in 4 straight games.
Yep.
Played well on the road in his last 2. 4-to-1 touchdown to INT ratio.
You want some angles?
Yeah, hit me with them.
How about a rivalry game?
All Ohio.
How about coming out of a
Bill
bye?
Bender Bowl.
How about coming out of a bye?
Love that. Tested.
Probably maybe threw a couple of trick plays in there or big shots.
Oh, I'm sure.
How about an actual angle? Nick Chubb opening up the passing game.
Absolutely. Okay. How about a 4th angle?
Okay.
The opposite, working against him. Reverse angle. Hugh Jackson on the Bengals sideline now and knows how to defend Baker Mayfield.
But does he know how to defend his Baker Mayfield? Maybe not. The new Baker Mayfield. New Baker Mayfield.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But a revenge game for May, like sees Hugh Jackson on the sideline and is like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You thought Tyrod Taylor should start over me?
Right.
I'll show you.
Yeah, you're where you're supposed to be now.
Go deep, Callaway. All right, you're where you're supposed to be now. I like him a lot this week. Yeah. I would start him over Wentz. I really would. I think I'd still start Watson just because, like you said, he's the kind of dude. I mean, Wentz can do this too, but just have a monster game at any time.
Would you start him over Roethlisberger?
Mayfield?
Yeah.
No. Roethlisberger's weapons are just too good.
Yeah.
But then Lamar Jackson, you already know how I feel about him. I'm just not going to start. I'd start. Maybe I'd start him up. No, I wouldn't even start him over Stafford. I wouldn't even start him over Stafford.
I think Jackson's interesting if he starts.
He's interesting.
He's going to rush for at least 80 yards.
At least.
Yeah, that's what I said.
All right.
There's 8 points right there.
Yeah. I know how math works.
Yeah. Just imagine him with a touchdown or two.
God.
It's not like it's impossible.
But you know what?
He ever gets
I can't
touchdown.
imagine that.
You can't. He's just that. He did go 13 for 19. Like he wasn't.
Did you see the passes?
He wasn't. It's funny. I don't remember him completing 13 passes. Like I don't know when those happened.
They were just little bloop, bloop, bloop to Willie Snead. All you got to do is double team Willie Snead and you're fine. All right, how about Winston? Terrible.
Yeah, that
You know
game,
what? We could throw Nick Mullins in there too, as much as we make fun of him.
Okay.
He's been pretty good.
So that game, like, it's one of those games. Only people watching that game, fantasy players and gamblers.
Right.
It's going to be just stupid. It's
the highest total of the week.
It's going to be
or at least Sunday.
An ugly, stupid shootout.
Right.
With just two bad defense. There's probably going to be picks too, though. There'll be picks. There'll be touchdowns.
Right.
You know, I'm sure the Bucs will score some long ones.
And you know what else? I guarantee there will be a missed extra point.
That's the kind of game where there would be.
But I feel like every game now has missed extra points. But so how about this angle? This is an angle gamblers love.
Okay.
I feel it's fallen out of favor a little bit. West Coast to East Coast early afternoon. This is about as long of a road trip as you can get in the NFL. I think only Seattle to Miami would be longer.
Yep.
Are we worried about that? Now, the 49ers are coming off a bye, though.
Yeah, they're coming off a bye. They've got a lot of time to handle that flight.
Yeah.
It seems like it's just going to be a silly season game.
It does.
You know?
But so do you start Winston over any of those other four we mentioned?
Over any of the other, over the four bad ones?
Rivers, Stafford, Wentz, Watson.
I start him over Stafford. I have no problem starting him over Stafford.
Yeah. He's going to have picks, but he'll get touchdowns and yards.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a stupid game. Like, I consider Winston. Right. Sure, why not? It's funny, like, so I had my notes that San Francisco, they've only had 2 interceptions all year, right? 2 defensive interceptions all year. But if you go a little deeper, which I like to do.
We all do.
You know, obviously they're giving up a ton of points to quarterbacks, but they faced good quarterbacks.
Right.
So they faced Cousins, Stafford, Mahomes, Rivers, Rodgers, and Goff. Right. When they face bad ones, they've got Eli lit him up for 25 points. Right.
But it was because he had touchdowns. He had like 188 yards.
When they faced Carr, 7 points. They faced Rosen twice, 12.5, and the second time he got him for 23.
Right.
So when they faced bad quarterbacks, I'm not even sure where Winston fits in on that.
Yeah, he has a weird.
Like, I think the first reaction is like, look at it's terrible, but they've gotten torched by some good offensive teams.
Yeah. But the Bucs are a good offensive team.
Yeah, they are.
In a weird way.
So start Winston.
Yeah. I really
just wanted a reason to say that I did all that dig deep.
Yeah. Everyone's
deep dive.
We were all very impressed.
In the Tampa-San Francisco game.
Let's go to running backs. We've already talked about the Ravens guys against Oakland. Don't need to talk about them. Bears guys against Detroit's real interesting because just 2 weeks ago, Cohen got in the end zone, but they rushed for a combined 40 yards. It was embarrassing. Detroit run defense has gotten better, I guess, since they got Damon Harrison has helped. Josh Adams, your boy, coming back this week. The guy, team leader, the RB1 who gets 7 carries a game. Then we got the 2 Dolphins backs against Indy. That's a pretty good matchup for them. Bad ones. We already talked about the Raiders against the Ravens. We already talked about the Lions against the Bears. Don't even talk about them anymore. The 2 Falcons guys, or 1.5 Falcons guys against the Saints. We also talked about how anytime we're worried about the Saints, they come through. Your boy, Shady McCoy against the Jags. And recent breakout, Aaron Jones against the Vikings. I want to start with him. So he's been awesome.
Yeah.
To the point where he's just a must start, you think?
I feel pretty safe starting him.
I mean, he's definitely, Jamal Williams had 1 carry. This isn't a split anymore.
Yeah,
and Aaron Jones
good.
is the running back.
Minnesota defense isn't as good as it was last year.
Right.
Bears just ran on him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that worried about starting Jones.
So he's definitely a start.
Yeah,
no need to worry anymore. All right, so let's get into Shady.
It's disappointing. Coming off that great game,
right? Then
he gets a week off to rest, and now he's going to face stupid Jacksonville.
But here, how about this for an angle? Jacksonville, they're done. Dead team walking.
I'll see your angle. Yeah. Raise your angle. Jacksonville going north to Buffalo?
Exactly.
I want to play up there.
The double team.
I don't know if it snowed in Buffalo. I know it snowed in New York, but
close enough.
It's probably snowed in Buffalo?
For sure.
Do we have to look that up?
I don't.
No.
It's November. Definitely.
It's November.
20.
So does Jacksonville really want to go up there and dig in against
Dead
Shady
team
McCoy?
walk-in, cold weather road game. Come on. You think Jalen Ramsey's hyped for this game?
He's gonna have so much clothes on.
They just want to get. They want to get this season over with.
Yeah.
Last week was their Alamo, and they lost.
Yeah.
And now they're like, Let's mail this in.
So how much do you think that will result in for McCoy? Because I have to start him this week.
6.3 points.
Yeah, pretty much. He's still not going to
Josh Allen back, though. They've been better with him.
Yeah.
I think McCoy's still a start. He's going to get 9 points.
Unfortunately, I have to still do that. So
yeah, he's going to get 9 points. He's still a start. So the other guys,
McCoy or Doug Martin.
If Martin's
see,
I don't think. I mean, McCoy, 100%, not even close. Yeah. That's total matchup one. The better question.
McCoy or Gus Edwards.
McCoy. We just don't know what the bus is going to get. Now the Bears ones are interesting because Jordan Howard, I think, has been a nightmare for his owners, but he can have big games. The Lions statistically aren't bad, even though they've been improving lately. But I don't know what to make of him.
I mean, he's still good for a potential touchdown each week, right? He's not getting completely swallowed up. I feel like he still gets about 60 yards a game, which isn't good, but he's not in. The bigger problem is that they're spreading the ball out a ton. Right. Cohen gets his carries, Trubisky gets his carries, and they throw the ball. That offense is all of a sudden kind of feisty. I think it's more of Howard just didn't get a lot of carries. He hasn't been terrible.
No, well, a couple games he was. Well, a couple games he hasn't really gotten the touches, and it's been weird. Like the first time they played, everyone was like, oh, this is perfect for Jordan Howard. And then Cohen got like the 6-yard touchdown run. They both stunk otherwise. I think they're both in play, though, this week. I just think that game. But how about this angle? Hit them with it. The Sunday night game and the early Thursday game for the Bears.
Real short turnaround.
That is tired.
Real short turnaround.
They're going to be tired.
Detroit jazzed up on Thanksgiving.
People love saying that.
I'll say this, though.
People love to say
that. As a general rule, do you follow this as a general rule? If you got guys who are playable on Thanksgiving,
play them.
You got to play them, right?
So much more fun.
You got to play them, right?
It's way more fun. Yeah, I still like both those Bears backs quite a bit. Josh Adams, I guess last week he had the breakout. The big thing for Adams last week, 6 targets. Like he was in there. Yards. He was in there.
No, I think he's a guy. You know what's funny? So he was undrafted.
Right.
But
big guy too, fullback sized.
But it's not like he was some loser in college.
No,
like I looked up his college numbers because that's what I do here.
Right? No,
I get in deep.
You get on Excite and you search for this kind of stuff.
Granted, it was college. He averaged 6.7 yards a carry over 3 years.
Yeah,
his freshman year and his junior year were huge.
And where'd he go?
Notre Dame.
A real school.
Mm-hmm. So this guy was a highly touted guy, and then he had, I think, an ankle injury and all that. So it's not, he was undrafted, but he's not your normal undrafted guy.
Right.
So he's got talent. He's got pedigree.
You know where Gus Adams went? I might have said
Gus
it
Adams
earlier.
or Gus Edwards?
I keep calling him Gus Adams.
Do we know what Gus Adams?
No, I'm combining the two.
I don't know where Gus Edwards went.
Big Ten.
I still don't know where Gus Edwards went.
Rutgers.
Yeah, and I don't care.
Big Ten. No, I like Adams this week a lot, but yeah, he's has to start getting more than 7 carries. The Dolphins guys are interesting. I mean, Frank Gore.
It's got to be a start Frank Gore
every
week, right?
single week. We go to write the waiver column on Sunday. Every week.
See the last guy in the green room, Frank Gore.
We look up ownership percentage, 25. He gets 18 carries, 100 yards, 25%
Drake, I feel like every game this year. I don't have those numbers, but I feel like he has.
I mean, it's just, he is the starting running back.
Every time I click on a Dolphins box score, because I'm not watching their games.
No, why would you?
I feel like I'm going to see Drake out carrying Gore. And you know what I never see?
It's 18-3.
Drake out carrying.
And then Drake, it looked like, wow, he gets 7 targets. He's like the ultimate receiving back who also gets some carries. 2 out of the last 3 games, he had 2 targets. Yeah. He is a total wild card.
Yeah.
And I still feel he's the most talented offensive player they have.
Of course he is.
Total wild card.
Of course he is.
But Gore, it's like, this dude's getting 13 plus carries.
Yeah.
You know what he's getting. Yeah. And the ceiling's low, but the floor's kind of high.
Yeah.
So I like Gore, but
I like to think all those people with like Kareem Hunt and Gurley who've just been living in it this year, starting Gore this week.
Yeah, that's right. You're starting Drake. Yeah. Even better. Last one real quick. Falcons guys, Thursday night. Kevin Coleman, it seems like is more of the primary back than Ito Smith, but it's still close. The split's still close.
I still don't believe that like New Orleans has a stifling defense.
They don't.
So
yeah.
I mean, if you have Coleman, I think you got to start him. I don't know if you have to start Ito Smith.
No,
I still feel like anytime that
I don't like Ito.
Anytime that there's two offenses moving the ball up and down the field, there's going to be there's going to be carries in there.
But we thought that was going to happen last week, and it didn't with the Eagles.
Atlanta's got a better offense than Philly, though.
I guess.
And Atlanta's used to going to New Orleans. They've been there before. They're used to the dome setting. They have one of their own.
Oh, that's the key.
Yeah. So I think
playing domes
they'll be very comfortable there.
Yeah. No, I think he's fine. But talk about a guy who seemingly took a step back. He was a lot better when he was
in the year that Devontae Freeman went away. You're like, all right.
I remember having the argument. I was like, last year, it's like Tevin Coleman's a top 10 back. Yeah. If he was on his own team, this guy would be a stud.
Time to fire up Tevin Coleman. There's no more Devontae Freeman.
And apparently, he's not even good enough to get 16 touches with over Ito Smith. But
he went to Indiana. How good at football could he really be?
Big Ten, man. Just
really pushing the Big Ten today. Did Bill get in your ear?
Well, you just keep saying big, and Bill would be like, Josh Adams basically Big Ten.
They claim Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's basically Big Ten. Anyway, so yeah, those are most of those guys are playable, but even though the matchups on paper are a little tough. Wide receivers, we got a bunch. We're not really going to go in depth on them all. But we already kind of mentioned the 49ers and the Bucs
silly
guys.
Season game of the week.
The silly season game. So there's so many secondary guys. What do you do with half of them? But good matchup, obviously, on paper for both sets of receivers in 49ers Bucs. Last week's breakout, Traquan Smith, got Atlanta, got to feel good. He really got fire lit under him. They signed Dez and then signed Brandon Marshall, and he was like, I got to step up.
Can we throw the 2 game in a row rule on him?
He might be. He might be that dude. He might be that dude.
I do think he's pretty talented, and we've talked about how fast he sounds.
He sounds fast. But just 2 weeks ago, great match against Cincinnati, got shut out.
It's the 2 game in a row rule, man.
It might be for him, but I also think you got to play him this week against Atlanta at home.
Oh, and you play anyone against Atlanta.
Well, and especially
fire me up against Atlanta.
Right. Well, I wouldn't do that, but if it was in New Orleans, I would.
If I had Drew Brees throw to me, I could find a spot against Atlanta.
Drew Brees. All right, the Browns receivers against Cincinnati. Jarvis Landry, quietly one of the biggest busts of the year, I feel like.
It's a Callaway game. I'm telling you. Here's your spot, man.
I've been saying that.
Is he still on your team?
No.
Wait, he's on my team now.
I
wish I was playing.
I could give a shit.
I'm starting him.
Antonio Callaway.
I'm starting him.
You're gonna start him and Lamar Jackson. Do it. Do it.
I might
for that backdoor 6 playoff spot.
I might. Listen, I'll tell you what. Don't let me get in the playoffs, though.
I can't do anything.
Don't let me get in.
I won't. Kiki Cutie against Tennessee. He looked great last week. And
he comes back from hamstring injuries
and then gets
pretty nicely.
And then re-injures his hamstring again. And then Sterling Shepard, big disappointment last week, I feel like, but on paper again, Philly, good matchup. The Redskins receivers who are just kind of bad in general.
Yeah, and now they've got Colt McCoy throwing to them.
I don't know if that's a huge downgrade, honestly.
People diss Alex Smith so much. Alex Smith is competent.
But he is. In real life. But I meant for fantasy. Like for fantasy, he has.
Colt McCoy can get 200 yards.
That's what I'm saying, which is about what Alex Smith does.
They're just going to give it to Adrian Peterson even more now.
But it does seem Colt McCoy likes throwing to Jordan Reed, which
I like that.
Well, he's getting hurt.
Don't let me get in those playoffs.
Jordan Reed on a short week. He's getting hurt.
Don't worry. I got him handcuffed.
I got VD. You got VD?
Oh, yeah. I handcuffed my tight end.
Yeah, you got that VD.
I just want to do something right.
I want that soundbite. I got VD.
I just want to do something right in fantasy this year. So I'm like, maybe it'll be handcuffing my tight end.
Maybe it'll be picking up Lamar Jackson. You're just doing anything.
I'm doing anything, man.
Just throwing it at the wall. The Jags receivers, screw them.
Yeah.
I mean, we're done with them, right?
Yeah.
Why are we messing around with them?
Pretty done with them.
But they got Buffalo now.
Bortles, how can he go so far backwards? His whole career is up and down and backwards. I don't know. They got to find a new quarterback quick.
MVS against the Vikings. The Eagles receivers against the Giants. Corey Davis, your boy, against the Texans. I guess we already kind of talked about them. We can focus on the good. The 49ers Bucs.
We got to talk about that.
Well, no. Mike Evans is a must start.
Yeah.
Who else from that game, the wide receivers, rank them. Put them in order.
Both teams?
Yeah. After Evans.
It's probably got to be Goodwin, right?
Godwin? Goodwin or Goodwin. They got them both.
Right. I mean, Goodwin's. Look, I've been gone for 2 weeks. Goodwin's healthy right now, right?
Yeah.
But he's healthy. Yeah, so it's got to be Goodwin second.
That's so fast.
Then I'd probably go And then you got to go both Deshaun Jackson and Godwin.
Well, okay. You know the guy who's been like Mr. Targets for them like over the last 4 or 5 games is Humphries. So
Hump.
And then the other, big Humpty Hump. And then Kendrick Bourne is like quietly very solid for the Niners.
Yeah, I'd have to look up the Niners depth chart behind Godwin.
I mean, you still
because Garcon's hurt, right?
Goodwin. No, Garcon's back.
Okay. See, I've been gone, man. You got to ease me back in, man.
This Goodwin Godwin thing.
I'm supposed to be on a snap count today.
No, and you're still on London time. I know, man. I get it. I had the wristband. We scripted out the first 20, and then I saw something I liked. I thought, called an audible.
Why don't you rank the receivers in that game?
That's more fun when others do it. No, okay. Evans won.
We were supposed to play a game this week.
I know.
Where you were going to tell me things that happened in the NFL the past 2 weeks or in sports in general. And I was going to, you were going to give me some statements. Right. And I was going to tell you if they really happened or not. Right. Because it is impossible to follow American sports when you're 5 and 6 hours.
Actually, it's not because of the zone. A wonderful sports product.
I was not in the zone territory in either of my destinations.
But you will be soon, I bet. Because
DAZN's in America.
Is taking over.
So, yes.
But, no, okay, so I think I put Godwin, too, because Deshaun Jackson's dinged up, O.J. Howard's dinged up. I'm a big Chris Godwin guy. And also, the Bucs are, what happened last week? The opposite will happen this week. Yeah. Last week, Evans' big game, Humphries touchdown. This is a Godwin week.
I think it's still always going to be an Evans week.
Well, yeah, and an Evans week.
Yeah.
Then I'd probably say Goodwin, and then I like Bourne, and then Humpty Hump, then Jackson, then Garcon. But do whatever you want with those guys.
Start them. Have a bonanza. Sit back, grab some food, and just watch
It's this week's Chiefs Rams.
It probably
Start them all.
Would you be shocked if both teams hit 40?
Yeah. Nick Mullins, Jameis Winston, come on. No, 30? The game could be played in the 30s.
I didn't buck shit at 30.
For sure in the 30s. But as far as guys, I'm like, I definitely start. Evans and Godwin, I think, are my only 2 musts.
What about Goodwin?
Yeah, he should be, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
That's going to be a Kittle game. Yeah, you got to start someone against the Bucs. Yeah, go Goodwin. All right. With Traquan, you're right. It feels like in every other, but and now if Marshall's on the field, does he do anything, or is that just garbage?
But the biggest thing, the only thing I feel like that can slow down the Saints' passing attack is their running attack, right?
The running attack.
It's like who's getting the touchdowns this week? Who's getting the big plays? Who's getting the touchdowns?
Yeah.
Breeze is locked in.
By the way,
that team is locked in. Taysom Hill is locked in.
I don't know how much of that game you watched.
I watched a lot of that game.
Okay, did you see the end? Well, first of all, the Saints running up the score was phenomenal.
I definitely saw them not running out the clock.
Well, would they go for it on 4th and 7 and throw it deep? Yeah. But Mark Ingram, 3 chances from inside the 3-yard line. Got stuffed on all 3.
I always think of you when I see Mark Ingram do anything.
Like, he had a good game. I'm not complaining about that. Are you kidding me? 3 chances inside the 3 and gets stuffed every time. Okay, the Browns guys. I still feel it's optimal matchup against Cincinnati. I still feel like you have to start Jarvis Landry. You know, I do these radio shows and people call in and they're always asking about Jarvis Landry. I'm like, it's got a great matchup. You got to start him.
Your radio shows.
Yeah, if you're in the Omaha area in Florida.
Oh, that's a perfect spot for a little Peyton Manning Omaha soundbite there.
That's true. But, yeah, look at you giving producer notes live. You like Callaway? The guy who quietly has been better than Callaway is Rashard Higgins.
Callaway's getting one this week. I'll give you. You want the guarantee?
Yes.
You want the Rasheed Wallace-Caron damn T?
Yes.
Callaway getting one this week.
All right. Well, I'm not sold, but I still think you got to start Landry. Like, he's just too good and gets too many targets.
You're saying start Mayfield, so who's he going to throw to?
Njoku, Duke Johnson, and Landry.
Okay.
I had an answer. QD, I think, is a start. I just think he's not necessarily a must start, but pretty damn close based on when he's been on the field this year. He's been a dude. Yeah. A dude that gets the ball thrown to him.
He's a dude that gets the ball thrown to him. That's solid analysis.
Sterling Shepard.
Yeah,
busted last week in a great matchup.
Sure, whatever. It depends on your guys.
No, boo. Here's my thing about that matchup. Looks good on paper. If Eli doesn't have time to throw, he's useless.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to have time to throw.
Yeah, so he's useless.
So
he's useless most of the time.
Still like Beckham, still like Barkley, but not Shepard.
Oh, you like Barkley?
Is that a bold statement?
You start them this week?
Well, I said Beckham, too. It's just as stupid. All right, tight ends. Let's run through these guys quick. Carolina, by far the worst team against tight ends. Last week, they had the Lions, who don't use tight ends. No one scored. This week, they have the Seahawks. Basically the same thing. It is an Ed Dickson revenge game.
I was waiting when we were going to see our first revenge game angle today.
It is an Ed Dickson revenge game.
Let's get on the ball.
So we got,
talk to your tight end coach.
But Nick Vannett gets a few more targets on average.
Hey Russ, come on. You got to hook Ed up this week. Come on.
Dickson got the touchdown last week. All right. My boy, I don't know why he's my boy, Chris Herndon playing the Pats. The Ravens guys, we already talked about them against Oakland. We don't think you can start them if Jackson starts. And Vance McDonald, Jeff Howerman playing each other. Ooh. Both good matchups on paper for them. I like them both quite a bit.
Is that a Vance McDonald revenge game? Was he on Denver?
No, he's on the Niners.
Yeah, I'm thinking of someone else.
Yeah, but someone. Kyle Rudolph, bad one against the Packers, and he just really hasn't been good.
He's just like 50 yards a game, right?
Yeah, not even.
Not even.
No. Evan Ingram, we talked about him at Philly, and then Antonio Gates. Can he do it again?
He got his last week.
He had his revenge game for some reason. I don't know why it was a revenge game. All right, so the Seahawks guys. I mean, that's just a guess, right?
If you're starting those guys, I don't know what happened to you.
Travis Kelce.
Okay, sure. But I feel like at some point, I guess you've been riding Kelce out there for, 11
Or you
weeks
had Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, I guess.
Although he might try to play through it, which is insane to me.
Yeah. I think I'd go, well, if you have to pick those guys up, but I think I'd rather the Pittsburgh-Denver guys.
For sure, but they might, a little more likely they're owned. I like Herndon. Like, he had the touchdown stretch. Then the Jets receivers got a little healthier. Obviously, the Jets have QB issues. He's still been involved in the offense, and the Pats have been terrible against tight ends this year. Just terrible.
I mean, do you think that, here's the thing. I know Rudolph hasn't been great, Ingram hasn't been great, and Gates is Gates.
Yeah.
You really going to start the Seahawks over those three guys?
No. Maybe Gates. Yeah, I just threw Gates just because I wanted to talk about his weird revenge game, and we had already done that. That's the only reason.
But I don't think you're starting a Seahawk over Rudolph or Ingram. But then again, you don't have him on your team, so yeah, if you have Kelce. But we're talking about if you're a Kelce owner,
right?
Everyone else has had their buys,
right?
There's probably been tight ends
Herndon or McDonald or Hireman should be out
let's
there.
face it, if you're a Kelce owner, you probably don't even need to win this week.
No.
You're probably 11-0.
You're resting your players for the playoffs.
You're probably 11-0, and I don't like you.
No, So, but probably one of those three, McDonald, Hireman, Herndon, is out there. I'd rather have them over a Seahawk than trying to guess. It'd be one thing if it was one guy, but it's not.
It's not.
So you're guessing.
Yeah.
Rudolph, to me, is droppable. So here's a quick story. I know someone.
Oh. You know Kyle Rudolph?
No. They start by telling me.
I know someone who knows Harrison Smith.
Pretty good. They start by telling me, last week, the Vikings were on bye a couple weeks ago. They're like, yeah, I won my week by like 30, and I didn't even have a tight end. Yeah. I had Kyle Rudolph, and he was on bye, but I didn't have anyone on my team to drop, so I just kept him in my lineup.
I love how easy it is for some people.
Right, like, still won by 30. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, that's really dumb, though. Like, there had to be, in my mind, I'm like, even Rudolph is droppable to get someone in your tight end spot. He's not even good enough to, like, again, he's not Kelce, like. And I'm like, well, that's dumb. And I was like, tell me who's on your team. Right. I bet I can find two guys who you should have dropped.
Right.
Starting with Rudolph, but we won't even count him.
Right.
Let's go. It's like, well, I had to have two defenses because I have the Vikings. They're on bye, so I had to have another D. Right. And I'm like, okay. Like, I have Brady and Goff. Can't really drop one of them.
Okay. Could almost drop Brady.
Maybe, yeah. But I'm like, okay. Going through, it's like, I only carry 4 wide receivers. All 4 were good. They were all starters. Like, these are my running back. I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good team. And then I get to this. I mean, I had 2 kickers.
But doesn't that just kill you?
I had 2 kickers.
Some guy won by 30. We're dying for wins this year, right? Like, every win for us is like gold.
Begging.
Dude doesn't even pick up a tight end, carries 2 kickers, wins
2 kickers. And so I get actually mad. Like, not even the fake, like, incredulous mad. Yeah. I'm mad.
Right.
And I'm like, what?
Mad at this person?
Yes.
Or mad that you're in a conversation with someone about fantasy football who has 2 kickers? Because that's my thing. I don't want to talk to you about fantasy football if you're doing things like carrying 2 kickers.
Mad at the government, everything. And I'm like, who are your kickers? Who? And I'm like, and what you better say Justin Tucker is the guy on bye. Even then I'm pissed. But at least it's like, well, it's the best kicker or what have you. It's like, well, I mean, I didn't want to drop Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey, who's had like 4 sub-5-point games this year.
Who are these people you're hanging out with?
I don't. Anyway.
Hey, I lost the game this year to someone who didn't bother with the defense.
Tad has made one roster move all year.
He's like proud of it.
One. And that was to pick up Joe Flacco to replace his quarterback who was on bye. That's it.
Didn't replace his D.
Played without a D. This week he's playing without a kicker. And he is well ahead of me in the standings.
And he's our NFL editor.
Well, it's not fantasy.
Do we boot him from the league if you're not going to make moves?
He's going to make the playoffs. But anyway, and I heard that he's like, well, I didn't want to give someone a free upgrade at kicker to get Dan Bailey. And this is the best
Does he have
part.
Tucker?
No.
Oh, he's the one. He's the person
Bailey
having this conversation with you.
Yeah. No, Tad wasn't. No, it was someone not Tad who was having this conversation about having 2 kickers. I just went nuts. And I was like, that's not an upgrade. What are you talking about? I'm like, you've had Dan Bailey. You know he scores like 4 points a week. And I was beside myself. I couldn't believe. And this is the better part. It's one thing if you're like, well, I was 8-1. I know I'm in the playoffs. Right. Who cares? He's tied for the last playoff spot, and it's going to come down to a points tiebreaker.
But then he grabs
like even just getting
30-point win, though.
4 points from a Chris Herndon type.
That's how we think, though. That's why we sit home on Sundays and get mad.
That's why we're losers.
We picture other people sipping margaritas, watching their team win by 30 without even making
I got
moves.
a touchdown. Neat.
That's what we think of people, right?
Man, fantasy's fun. My guys just score touchdowns. It's really sweet.
I love having Rams and Chiefs and Saints.
I'm going to do that next year. It's really cool. Anyway.
You were pulling our hair out.
I'm just begging. I'm like, can I get 3 more yards from Trey Burton, please? Nope, I can't. All right. That's it. Starts and sits.
For fun.
Random stuff.
Just for fun. You know, the starts and sits just for fun.
Just for fun. It's entertainment purposes only. So one other thing, speaking of like trolling things that make me mad.
Okay.
Got at work here, obviously, Sunday morning. Getting toward, we're getting about a half hour away from kickoff. Got I think the ESPN pregame show on. Oh, they're going to do they do features every morning about whatever, human interest. And like, let's talk about Derrick Henry's legendary stiff arm.
It's so legendary. So I did this on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Right.
Like, I could have looked it up, but I didn't want to come to this and be like, oh yes. Like, I want to prove your point.
Yeah.
It's so legendary. I still haven't seen it.
Right. So Derrick Henry, who is so legendary, he gets
barely played last
6
week.
carries.
Deion Lewis.
Well, he got 2 carries until they were losing so much in garbage time.
He's the mop-up guy.
They used him to run out the clock.
Guy. He's a 5th inning reliever now.
Right, a 5th inning of when your team's losing by 8 runs.
Right.
That's what he is. He's Lance Lynn.
Right.
And they're just like, oh, Derrick, look at these highlights of him stiff-arming guys. Whoa, where'd you learn to do that?
So it wasn't one legendary stiff arm. It's just his stiff arm is legendary.
In general, like this guy is like he's Barry Sanders. You can't stop this guy.
I thought there was one play where he like knocked some. Like, remember the Vance McDonald stiff arm?
Right.
That's
a legendary
awesome.
stiff arm.
That's awesome, right?
It's a legendary.
That's what I thought we're talking about.
They're just
I'm like, where is this? I haven't seen anything about it.
But you know how like Le'Veon Bell stutter step at the line, like it's his signature thing.
Sure.
I'm like, this guy is a backup running back who's one of the biggest busts.
It's so legendary that I thought it was one thing.
Right.
I didn't even know it was
his signature move.
Signature move.
I was like, you're just trolling people who used a 3rd-round pick on Derrick Henry right now.
Who might that be?
Me and you.
Well, he was a keeper for me.
That's worse.
He was a keeper for me.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is just on purpose.
Well, you know what I couldn't believe?
Tell me.
And this isn't going to play on a podcast that well. I'm hoping it finds its way. It is a video format. I hope it finds its way into the preview article. I'm hoping. So I was in England.
Yeah, the UK.
I was in the UK, and we went into me and my friend walked into a coworker, walked into a sporting goods store.
Colleague.
He was looking for some soccer paraphernalia.
They call it football over there.
Right, they call it football over there.
That's right.
And we stumbled upon these pretty sick-looking American football jerseys.
Yeah, you showed me the picture.
They look like hockey sweaters, which would potentially make sense if the UK was like a hockey place.
Right.
Like I'd get if we were in Russia, be like, oh, okay, people are used to wearing hockey jerseys, so let's make a football jersey like a hockey. No, I have no idea what these are about. They were all number 60.
Right.
Okay, so you got we saw Patriots jerseys, Raiders jerseys. I think we saw some Packers jerseys. They're all number 60. I don't know who this number 60 offensive lineman character is.
60.
Like, is that when? That's not when the NFL started.
Is that what they think of American
like
football players?
It's so like this. That's why it kills me. This whole like they love football over there. We're gonna keep having games. We got to put this picture in the article because it's embarrassing what this thing is.
Right.
Like I wouldn't use this thing to dry off my car.
Wow. Sometimes you go to, like you'll go to, the TJ Maxx or some kind of store like that, and you'll see some funky looking jerseys sometimes. But they weren't as bad as
These
what
were
you
long
showed me.
Sleeve.
Yeah.
They were long sleeve.
I don't know what they were trying to accomplish. But also, who signs off on those?
I don't know. There were these football, like I saw like real footballs, and I was like, oh, cool. NFL. I pick it up. The other side of it is the Great Britain flag.
Naturally.
So, but at least I get that, right? I get it. But these jerseys, I don't know where the design came from. I don't know who signed off on them.
Every once in a while you'll see like a story somewhere, like a long form, and it's like, I took a baseball and I traced it all the way back to the cow that the leather is from. Like every step of the way, where did every step in the process of this baseball being made get done? I want to do that up the chain, like who designed this? Right. Who okayed it?
It's so easy
who approved it.
Take our jerseys and t-shirts and sell them over there.
Bold move.
Right, like if there was a team, like a product team put in place to make and create, let's do something different, guys.
Tariffs.
Like was it Khan, the Jaguars owner, trying to make sure people aren't are only Jaguars fans? Like they're sick Jags jerseys in there.
I bet it's either Obama or Trump. I bet it's one of those two.
These were
one of those two did something
laughable. If they weren't, I don't even know how many pounds they were.
Yeah,
I would have bought one.
Oh, you just said pounds, like money.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, pounds.
It's not a joke, but I get it. One more thing.
I also went to your homeland.
That's right.
Checked out your homeland, Czech Republic. You weren't that excited about it. I saw a bunch of little Praha. Praha. And didn't see any of your cousins or anything there.
Oh, they were there though.
They were probably there.
I think the king. I think I come from the king.
Okay.
I don't think they have a king.
Cute little city.
Cute little city. Only someone from the Northeast would say it like that. Arrogant Bossoner. One more thing. Every week I look at the schedule, and there's always at least one game that jumps out at me.
Yep.
That's like, why are these teams playing? This is a preseason match. It's usually an AFC.
Well, these two teams can play.
Yes.
Former division rivals.
Right. It's usually an AFC-NFC matchup that just seems weird. This week there isn't really, although I gotta say the 49ers-Bucks seems weird to me.
Yeah.
A little bit. And they're even in the same conference. But the game that really stood out this week, why are the Dolphins and Colts playing at 4:25?
Because of Thanksgiving?
Why are they one of the three late games?
Jacked up the schedule?
Because obviously they put, so the Steelers-Broncos is the national game of the week at 4:25 Eastern.
Here's two weird teams. The Chargers playing the Cardinals. I feel like that doesn't happen.
A little bit. They're both sort of Western, so I'm okay with that one. But Dolphins-Colts is not a feature game of the week. Right. Why did anyone think it would be?
So you need an AFC game, an AFC-only game. Cincinnati-Cleveland's better shot at 4.
Well, at least one AFC team. But the other thing, but they don't even go by that half the time anymore. Like, we don't even have an AFC team playing on Thanksgiving.
Right. So you could throw Baltimore-Oakland at 4 just because Oakland's a West Coast team.
Yeah, maybe, but it seems like, but the funny thing is this game actually does have playoff implications this year.
So that's why it's at 4.
It's just bizarre, though.
And Luck looks, by the way, real quick, we didn't talk about Andrew Luck at all. Kind of looks like he's back.
Dude, he looks, well, they have a line. People told me their line was going to be better this year, and I was like, yeah, I guess, but it was so bad. Yeah. I was like, how much better can it be? He doesn't get touched.
Yeah.
He just sits back and...
Yeah, he's starting to throw it deep now.
He's got 3 tight ends he utilizes. Yeah. Dontrell Inman, by the way, very quietly
moving up
on a come up.
On the come up, okay.
A little bit.
Ground floor.
I've always liked him.
You ground floor him?
I'm gonna ground floor him. I've always liked him. He always was like the big, I thought he'd be
always
better.
like all the San Diego receivers.
That's not San Diego.
No, he was on. When he was on San Diego.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, you liked him. You liked your boy Tyrell Williams, man.
Still love Tyrell.
You love Tyrell. You like a little Mike Williams.
That's right. Anyway, that's just...
By the way, I was in bed before the 4 o'clocks both of the weeks I was gone.
Yeah.
That's how hard it is to follow football over there. I was in bed.
Zones, man. How do they work? I don't know.
Crazy stuff.
I'll never know. All right, that's it for this show. Everyone have a good Thanksgiving. We'll be back next week. We'll be even more downtrodden and upset. I'll make fun of Eric and his Lamar Jackson.
I feel like I might need some rest. I think I overplayed my snap count
I think you did.
Is Jacob back next week, or is he just
I don't think
gallivanting?
He'll be back, but we'll
just
see.
gallivanting around the world.
I don't know if he'll be here, but
while the rest
either
of us work.
We'll see. Anything you need the rest of the week, sportingnews.com/fantasy. We obviously got rankings, PPR, standard. We have sleepers. We'll have bus. We'll have all the injury updates, tons of DFS stuff, including Thanksgiving lineups, DraftKings and FanDuel, then the regular Sunday slate along with values.
A little Thanksgiving turbo.
That's right. Well, we're going to do the names now. Just like I was doing it, what was like the mini wishbone.
Oh,
like what are we talking about?
Wishbone action.
Thanksgiving wishbone, mini turbo. So anyway, check it all out. It's there for you. For fantasy football expert Eric Ferreira, I'm Matt Latuski, and we'll see you next time.